Hello, hello, Handstand Rockstar. Welcome back to video number 2 of your 21 days of installing better handstand habits into your training. Of course, I am Coach Kyle here to lead the way through today's habit that we're going to install, and it has a lot to do with the shape of your handstand. So yesterday we worked on a movement drill. By the way, there's about 4 main elements to handstand. There's movement, shape, strength, and balance. I'll cover all of them throughout this training. Yesterday we moved. We learned how to move and put our hands on the ground. And then if you participated in the second part of the video, we moved by picking a foot up and seeing how high we could get with control. Today we're going to transition and work on your shape. When I say shape, I mean shoulders, ribs, tailbone. Okay, so if you ever seen someone kick up and they don't have their shape dialed in, it looks kind of like a banana back and they're playing this game of balance. That's different than hand standing. Hear me out. So when I stand on 2 feet, I'm not balancing. I am standing. My weight is perfectly distributed and it's pouring on top of my surface, which in that case is my feet. You will get there with your hands. In the early days, you have to balance your handstand. And then as you get better and stronger, you're literally standing on your hands. And you will know the difference when you get there. You're going to start to feel it. It's a big difference between constantly saving it and not falling versus truly standing. And a lot of that has to do with today's video, which is shape. So follow along with me. If you've done yoga before, you've done cat-cow. We're going to do a mild version of that here, and then we're going to take it to the wall, and I'll show you a contrast drill. I call these contrast drills because I want you to feel the contrast. So come to neutral. Okay, now protract your shoulders, pull your ribs in, scoop your tailbone. Okay, now the contrast of this would be very lazy. I'm going to let the low back kind of sway and I'm going to drop into my shoulders and then sometimes the elbows bend. What I want is the contrast of that. We go back to what I call in position versus being out of position. In position, push the shoulders, ribs in, scoop the tailbone. Okay, this is the rigidity and tightness that we want. Now release, so contrast there. And let's do it a couple of times here. Shoulders, ribs in, curl the tailbone, release. One more time just to get it down. Shoulders, ribs in, curl the tailbone, hold for 5. Tension throughout the body. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, pause. We'll do one more set of that, and then we're going to take it to plank, meaning we're going to distribute weight a little bit longer, so our lever is longer and it's heavier, and then we're going to take it up to the wall. So the idea when you get upside down is that everything comes into a straight line. Okay, that's again the difference between balancing, like falling forward, falling back, and trying to not fall, versus actually just standing on your hands. So let's come in one more time. Tabletop, hands down in our handstand position, mind you, that we dialed in the previous video. So go super lazy, out of position. Now let's get in position. Shoulders, ribs, scoop the tailbone. Release. Again, shoulders, ribs, scoop the tailbone. These are like tiny, tiny movements. Last one. Shoulders, ribs, scoop the tailbone. Hold for 3, 2, and 1. So this is a good habit to get into. I remember when I was first able to handstand, I didn't have this. I didn't have a coach. I was just kind of kicking up on my own, figuring like, oh, I can figure this out. And then I got my handstand and I went into a gymnastics and acrobatics class and they're like, hey man, your alignment is really far off. And once they fixed it for me, once I got this and that, everything changed. It's almost like it instantly got lighter by me working a little harder on finding a better shape. So let's take this into plank pose before we take it upside down. Hands down in handstand position. Full plank, but let's call it lazy plank. You know what this one feels like, right? For my yoga teachers in the house, you probably see this in some of your students sometimes. So you want to push shoulders, pull the ribs in, curl the tailbone forward, release. Shoulders, ribs in, curl the tailbone, hold 5, 4, 3, 2, release. Last one. Okay, so we're down at the bottom, lazy plank. Let's push shoulders, ribs in, curl the tailbone, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Down. So I refer to these again as contrast drills. If you don't know what you're supposed to be feeling, it might help to feel the exact opposite so that you know what not to do and you can work away from that. This is how one of my very first coaches got me to understand in an upside down position what posterior pelvic tilt is. He's like, go into the biggest back bend you can, which for me isn't like a huge back bend because I just wasn't clicking. And he's like, and he said, go into the biggest back bend you can. So I let everything kind of just fly open. And then he's like, okay, now do the opposite of that. And it was that one cue that lined up everything for me. And I'm going to show you how to do it right now at the wall. So go find some wall space and let's get set up. All right, handstander, we are at our trusty friend, the wall. Now, I hear a lot of beginner students say, I want to get away from the wall. I want to get away from the wall. I don't want to use a wall. Here's the deal. You need to use the wall when you're first starting. I still use a wall. When I am training some more advanced skills, anything that I'm doing that's new, and I can't do it freestanding yet, guess where I go? Straight to the wall. I'm working one arms, I'm working different shifts, and I go back to the wall because I've learned over years that this is one of the best tools that you can use if you use it correctly. I see too many newbies just kick, slam, come down, and then they wonder why they don't have their handstand because they're not using it in an intelligent way. So, this next drill is a very intelligent way to use a wall to help your shape. The further away that you're from the wall, the less stacked you're going to be. The more you can crawl in, the more stacked you're going to be in this drill. This is the contrast drill as broken out vertically instead of horizontally. So follow along here. Just watch this first one. I'm going to put a leg up, push, put a leg up. And let's say I crawl, I'm about 4 or 5 like boards away from it. And then I'm going to do the contrast. I'm just going to go lazy, lazy, banana back, closed shoulder. Now remember what we just did in our previous drill. We pushed up, ribs, curl the tailbone, release, push up, ribs in, curl the tailbone. And now I'm creating straightness and rigidity in the body. If I wanted to level up, I would crawl in a little further. Rounded banana back, no good. I'm going to push up. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to pull in my ribs and curl my tailbone and see if I can make my body as straight as I can while leaving my feet on the wall. So that is your demo. I'm going to take a little break. You feel free to do these. I'm going to do also a couple more sets here in this video just so you have a little bit of a visual representation of how this looks. So my hands when I started were right around here, and then I dialed it in to about here. If you get more comfortable, you'll come closer to the wall. But as you get closer to the wall, some people get a little claustrophobic. So if it's uncomfortable for you, I want you to stay in a spot where you can be comfortable upside down for the purpose of doing the drill. Remember, I've said it before. I'll probably say it once a video. The goal of the drill is not to hit your handstand. The goal of the drill is to do the drill so that you can hit your handstand later. All right, I'm going in for set number 2. I'm going to put my hands down. 1 foot up, 2 feet up. I'm going to find an appropriate distance from the wall, like so. And I'm just going to come out contrast. This is the opposite of what I want to be doing, so I need to figure out what the opposite of this is. It's pushing, pushing, pushing through the shoulder, pulling my ribs in, curling the tailbone, and holding for 3, 2, 1. Come on out for contrast. Okay, let's do this again. Shoulders up. There it is. Push in, curl the tailbone for 3, 2, and 1. And then I'm going to come on down. You notice I just dropped a single foot to come down, or you can crawl out. That one is more or less up to you and your comfort level. One thing to note on these, if you're not comfortable even being here, I want you to stick with the plank pose version of this. And then there's like this in between that you can do where let's say we're kind of out here, right? And I got 1 foot up. I can still go down and do the contrast drill. I can push up. I can work on curling everything. I can go here. I can push up and work on curling everything. Maybe it eventually gets to this. I'm not totally stacked, but I am still committed to doing these movements and installing the habit. So everyone starts this drill at a little bit different starting point. So you need to figure out what's good for you, what is going to challenge you and push you a little bit, but what also leaves you feeling safe enough that you can repeat this drill over and over. So that is it for me. Drill number 2 of your 21-day series, contrast drills. How do we go from banana back into the contrast and finding a nice, clean, tall shape in your handstand? As always, I am super proud of you for hanging with me. Check your email tomorrow for drill number 3.